Welcome to Cybermasters with Rik Nevone.
It's a brand new show.
It's a continuation of our last show. This one's really interesting, where we're going to be talking about none other than Majestic 12. You may have heard of it. Really interesting stuff.
Okay. Before we
have
get into
information about Majestic 12.
I'm getting some scotch.
And yes, and we're having a little party here and talking about a little conspiracy theory. Now, Majestic 12 is an interesting group that have been mentioned for many years. They're a group that was together to sort of study UFO technology. It's something that's considered a conspiracy theory. A lot of conspiracy theory around it. But if you remember what happened on TV 2 years ago, alien ships or UFOs being followed by the military, and documentaries put out about it. The federal government came to terms with the fact that, yes, there are objects flying around. We have no idea what they're doing. Here they are. And everybody saw these jets, all 4 jets zeroing in on this object that's flying through space at 1 million miles an hour. So then they talked about, well, there's a group called Majestic 12 that's studying it. Oh, don't worry. It's one big conspiracy theory. We're going to talk about Majestic 12, which a lot of people don't really talk about, you know?
Okay.
So I am an Ancient Aliens guy. I will say that since I'm a young man and studying Egypt and the pyramids, there's something amazing there.
Ancient Aliens.
And but Ancient Aliens, when you say
is
that,
an awesome show.
It sounds like it's Ancient Aliens got the big hair. Yeah. It must be science fiction. Why would it be science fiction?
No,
and the number one thing that I've been studying recently, the gold miners, the Americans who mine gold. I am being told that in fact they didn't create new mines; they found ancient mines that they restarted to do. So
we're gonna toast.
Cheers!
All right,
welcome
got some
to the show,
Johnny Walker Green.
Welcome to Johnny Walker Green and Majestic 12.
Okay.
Excellent.
So Majestic 12 was a group of people that were put together by the.
When did Majestic 12 start?
It was during the Eisenhower administration.
Eisenhower.
Right after that Roswell crash.
Was Eisenhower a Freemason, a 33-degree Freemason, or was Roosevelt only a 33-degree Freemason?
I'm not sure if Eisenhower was. You know, that's something to look up. Yeah.
That's an interesting thought, right?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to look up. But what I did is I printed out the 22 pages that have been declassified, okay, on that you can download on the internet. Okay?
So there are declassified files about this group that for years was a mystery.
They've
really
all
exist.
been called bogus. Okay.
Wow.
But
what year was this written? What year is this?
This goes back to 1949.
1949.
Yeah, this is after World War II. Okay.
Now,
this document I'm looking at right now was prepared in
typewriters?
1952. This is like before regular typewriters.
Before typewriters, I didn't go from pen to typewriter.
It was like a typing machine. Okay, it was like how should I say?
So it wasn't the printing presses?
It wasn't like a Gutenberg printing press with like type on a press.
Yeah, typesetting.
It was like after typesetting. It was like a machine that would type. And then what they did is, like, finally the technology advanced to the point where they can make a machine that could sit on your desk.
It's a typewriter.
It's like a mechanical typewriter, right?
Gotcha. The typewriters are the evolution of this.
So during this time, typewriters, mechanical typewriters were invented during this. So you've got James Forrestal, you've got Vannevar Bush, you've got Hoyt Vandenberg. You've got Jerome Hunsucker.
These
Jordan
are on
Gray.
the list.
These are people who were part of the group, the Majestic 12.
Got it.
Okay, these people were
all Americans.
Yeah, all Americans. Yeah, all Americans.
Do the other countries have their own Majestic 12 type of thing?
We couldn't possibly know because, of course, they're not sharing it with us.
But Majestic 12 was an American-based.
It was an American thing. Now, you got to remember, like, this is like in the months and years after World War II, okay?
So right after World War II.
Europe looks like craters, okay? The Nazi Party has been destroyed. The Nuremberg trials are going on. People are being hung for war crimes. You know, it's the Berlin airlift has started. We're trying. The wall between East and West Berlin is being built. Okay.
Wow.
The Russians are turning into our enemies now. The Soviets.
Right, our allies for the war, but
Yeah.
now they're the big shots.
You know, and in the middle of Roswell, New Mexico, something happens. And it's played off like a weather balloon, okay? Now,
Well, no, there was one article that came out. It said
it
something
said,
was weird.
we
and
have
then-
a flying saucer,
Right.
right? And then the very next day, they come out and they say, oh, it was not a flying saucer, it was a weather balloon. So basically what happened was, like, Eisenhower called up General Ramey, who was at, you know, he was like the guy in charge right there, Brigadier General Ramey, and says to him, you know, I don't care if you got to unwrap the fish in your freezer with the tinfoil. You freaking put something out there and you tell these people that you got it all wrong. Now, meanwhile, Eisenhower himself is putting together, and this is when President-elect Eisenhower, it starts when he was just the President-elect. This is between November and January of, like, the Eisenhower presidency. He wasn't even actually president
He was
yet.
elected, but he wasn't in office yet.
Right here in this document,
What's the
November,
date?
November 1952, President-elect Eisenhower.
Wow. Hold that up for a second.
Yep.
President-elect.
Of course, they say it's saying bogus because you can't say any of this stuff is real. Okay?
18th of
But we're gonna speak
November,
to that in a second.
1952.
Yeah.
Meaning that was in between him gaining office and
Correct.
and who's leaving the
Correct.
office at that time.
Okay. So who was
leaving?
Who's leaving office was Truman.
So
Right?
Truman,
the guy
is,
who took over
Wow.
from Roosevelt and who dropped the atomic bombs on Japan, and it's essentially presided over the ending of World War II.
Wow, what a sick timeline! I didn't actually realize this.
It's like right in the
That's
middle of
real.
all this. It's right in the middle of all this.
Wow. So
Okay.
so here he takes over as president in January 1st or 2nd, and he's writing this
It's
document.
January. I think it's January 15th.
January 15th.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And he's writing this document right before that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they're doing like a.
Does an incoming president have that kind of juice or power?
Of course, because he's being read into everything that's secret now. You know, he needs that time between the November elections and the January signing in. That's where he's being read into everything, all things secret. Okay, that's when when Joe Biden was being told things that he probably didn't understand.
Oh shoot, that's crazy. Yes. I just remember when Trump.
While he was sitting
I
there
think
licking an ice cream cone.
when Trump had that meeting, I remember one day he came out and he looked like real flush. I'm like, what did you learn today?
Did you ever see the interview with the Apollo 11 astronauts after they got back from their mission?
They looked.
The debriefing afterwards, so
It was
like,
very weird. They acted strange.
you just walked on the moon, okay? You just did something that changed humanity going
Forever.
forward. And you've got the three astronauts, Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, sitting at this table being interviewed, and they are literally looking down at their shoes. They're solemn. They're depressed. They look like they've just been yelled at by the teacher. I mean, like
Wow, it's true. I thought they were just tired.
yeah, they might have been. And seriously, if you just got back
They
from
were
something like
just
that,
mad tired.
maybe you would be mad tired. I know I would be. But you know what? I've been on binges with rock and roll bands where I'm playing 5 shows in a row, and at the end of that 5th show, you're fucking tired, okay? But you're still like this, holding your guitar up in the air, Yeah, with your last bit of energy. You're collapsing as you're walking off stage, but you're like, motherfuckers! Right? Now, you just walked on the freaking moon, okay? Like, one small step for mankind, one giant leap.
Right. Changed the world forever.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, right? That's a moment. That's like Noah with the ark. That's like Jesus rising from the dead.
Yes.
That's like big news in the timeline of humanity. And these guys are sitting there like this. What did they see up there? The question that's begged to ask is that they saw something that we now know what they saw because the tapes of their conversations have been declassified.
Correct.
They saw UFOs up there.
What did they call them? They had a code name for them.
I forget what the code name was.
Yeah.
But they saw stuff flying around up there. They saw stuff going on up there. There was just like a couple of hundred yards away.
Well, we saw the footage of the thing coming close.
Think about the first moon landing. If you're the aliens, you're not going to take out the camcorder. Like, seriously, this is like humans' like big moment. Like, you're not going to like show up and like be like, oh God, let me get my cell phone here and take some pictures. Right? Of course you are, right? So they're watching what's going on. Look, to think, my buddy Don, who used to be my business partner and drummer in Rock of Ages, and I love him dearly. He's like the ultimate skeptic. He's the ultimate cynic.
Okay. Okay.
He says to me, he goes, listen, I don't doubt, this is what he says to me, he goes, I don't doubt for a second that in the Milky Way galaxy, there's probably fuck tons of life out there.
Right. Inhabitable planets.
He goes, what I say, and this is his words, I don't think the technology, I don't think anybody's at that point where they can like fly faster than the speed of light and have spaceships
and
like Star Trek
and
get over here and affect us and blah blah. He goes, that's a leap. He goes, microbes, definitely. Bugs, possibly. Dinosaurs, it's a good chance. Okay, even people, sure. Space travel, like seriously. But what I said to him, my argument back to him is the timescales. Think about you looking.
You would have to live on a spaceship to make it across.
Well, okay, maybe not. What I'm saying is, in our sphere of understanding, right? We're at that point where we're imagining a spaceship like the Enterprise that can go through space, right?
Yes.
But we don't have the technology yet. Right? We talked about a gravity plating. We talked about warp drive. We've talked hyper light speed and all that stuff. We've discussed that on this show. Okay. What if another civilization started right when we did? Started went from Cro-Magnon to Neanderthal to like where we are, the Homo sapien. Like they evolved right along the same time we did, and they didn't have a Dark Ages.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
And they kept evolving.
I put to you that if it wasn't for Christianity, if it wasn't for the dogma of the Christian church, we would have been ahead 700 years from where we are now. Wow. So imagine where we would be 700 years from now if it wasn't for the Dark Ages.
Wow.
Where if you actually said, like Copernicus said, if you said the Earth is not the center of the universe, but a planet revolving around the sun, if you said that back in his day...
You're getting killed. You're going to die. You're going to die.
You know who Giordano Bruno is?
Yes, I do.
You know who he is, right?
Yes.
He was burned alive.
Yes.
For just talking about the plurality of worlds. He spoke about the possibility of there being other worlds out there, back around the same time Copernicus was around. Yeah. And they burned his ass dead for going against Christian dogma. And if you go look it up on Wikipedia. Is a full accounting of Giordano Bruno and what happened, and it even mentions the cardinals who sentenced him to death, and the date it happened, and how he was hung naked in the square in the basilica near the Vatican City.
Full punishment.
Bruno is remembered today as being the hero of free thought.
Interesting.
Okay. And I love what Neil deGrasse Tyson did with the Cosmos reboot, right, from Carl Sagan.
Yeah, it's
he
awesome.
did a whole show on Bruno.
Yes.
And it was like, I sat there and I had a tear coming out of my eye, because I'm like, nobody knows who this man is. And all he said was, like, he openly said, hey guys, see all those stars out there? There could be planets around those stars. That's all he said. And look at us today. What is the catalog up to now? 8,000, 10,000 stars that we know have planets around it?
Sure, but listen, I'm the poster child of saying things like that and being thrown out, so I know all about that. Ha! See,
know.
The problem is sometimes when you're honest and you're just trying to get your work done, and everyone has a wool pulled over everyone's heads, you just can't be the good guy. There's no room for it. You'll be ostracized.
Exactly.
So what happened here? How did they come to this document?
Well, so
all this history?
with the Majestic 12 was basically...
So knowing that there's mad secrecy around this, they had to do this in secret.
Of course. And...
Well, why is it called TC Secret Majestic? What's that all about?
Well, let's see. The person who typed it just called it magic.
Can I
Sure,
just
absolutely.
put that a little closer to the camera?
The person who typed it thought Majestic meant magic, and they didn't know like what they were typing.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So it was like eyes only. And when you see something like from the government,
so
that says
Majestic
eyes
and
only,
magic, it was supposed to like say magic?
It was supposed to say Majestic, right? But the heading says magic. Okay. Now what that means, we don't know. Okay.
So is it supposed to be majestic or magic?
I take it to mean that the person that did that. Look, the heading is off. See how the top secret and that heading is off?
Yes.
Right? So that, to me, that says the person who did this heading didn't really have an understanding of what this was.
Really?
Okay? So they saw Majestic. They just typed in whatever they thought they should type in. Now, remember what I was telling you?
I can do a close-up on that. So this is a copy of the original document, you're saying?
Hmm?
This is a copy of the original document.
Yep.
Typed on this special pre-typewriter technology.
Which our lovely country and the people in charge wrote bogus on every one of these pages.
Magic, eyes only. Interesting. Okay.
I'll give you the PDF.
Excellent. And we'll share it with the
you
audience.
put it on your
I'll
website.
Put it on the website.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here's the thing. We were talking about this pre-show, right? Linda Moulton Howe.
Yes. The famous scientist.
Famous journalist.
Journalist, yes, correct.
Who works on Ancient Aliens quite a bit. A good friend of Giorgio Tsoukalos and the crew that, Nick Pope and all those guys that do Ancient Aliens. Mm-hmm. And, I got to put a huge shout out to them, because they're putting out stuff in the mainstream that if it wasn't for them, nobody would know would be happening. Okay. And you can make jokes about all you want. You could Tsoukalos with his crazy hair and make the memes, aliens, everything to him is like aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
But it harkens back to Eric von Däniken.
The Chariots
of the Gods.
Chariots of the Gods,
right.
1973.
Yeah, very good, very good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Now, von Däniken is a guy who runs a hotel in your old hometown,
Yes, Vienna.
Vienna, right?
Correct.
And he becomes this person, this conspiracy person.
Well, Chariot of the Gods shows about all this ancient Egyptian stuff that he's saying, this is the truth. That's a Chariot of the Gods.
Not only Egyptian, but from everywhere on the planet. And this is the thing. How the hell, and this is the questions he asks, and I got to step back on this. How the hell are the Mayans building pyramids, the Chinese building pyramids, the Egyptians building pyramids, all at the same time, right? Why is that happening? And the celestial alignments and all this. How the hell does, on different parts of the world that supposedly didn't have any communication at the time, okay, how is all this stuff being built all around the world at the same time, right? So Von Daniken's like looking at this stuff and he's checking out like, looking at, like, he's in Mexico, and in it was that relief in Tikal of the guy sitting in the supposedly a space capsule, and he's like got all these
maneuvering the stuff,
right? And he's got like a face mask on him, right? It's clearly an astronaut type of thing. Now, and he brings this up with a couple of different things, like the biblical references in the Book of Revelations. Well, you got to think about something. When the prophet the prophet John, who wrote the Book of Revelations.
Okay.
If you are a guy living in the world of Jerusalem or the Middle East, let's just say the Middle East, because we're not really sure where John came from. We could guess, but it was like somewhere around present day Jerusalem, present day Palestine.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So you're a guy that's living like in the year 600, 700 back then.
Yes.
You have a knowledge of science in your day. And someone takes you forward in time, and they show you a nuclear submarine. They show you a fighter jet. They show you Armageddon happening with nuclear weapons. If you look at that accounting in the Book of Revelations, it's really, really close to what someone of that time period would have, if they were watching this on a TV or watching this like from afar, like through some kind of like cloud or something like that. If you were watching this stuff happen, you would talk about a serpent rising up out of the ocean with 8 heads. Warheads? If you were watching an eagle with iron breastplates, maybe you're talking about a fighter jet. Maybe you're talking about stuff like, and you're making sense of it from a man of his time, okay? And trying to relate your sphere of knowledge to the incredibly advanced technology that you're witnessing. Just saying, So maybe,
but that's assuming he was able to see the future or have some kind of vision.
If you read the Book of
future.
Revelations, it's clear that he saw the Battle of Armageddon, and he described it, Gog and Magog, and the bear and the eagle. He describes these things, and you can read the Book of Revelations. I've read the Bible, 4 times? From front to back, like a novel.
Wow!
If you go and you read the Book of Revelations, the opening of the seals, the spilling of the blood,
yes,
like all of this stuff it's metaphorical, because John didn't have technical knowledge to associate this stuff with.
Okay.
Right?
Tie me back to the Majestic 12.
Okay. We're after World War II. The world is trying to repair itself after what happened. We're coming to grips with the Holocaust. We're coming to
The fact that happened, which they weren't sure before the war, and now had proof.
And for our liberal friends out there, the Holocaust actually happened. Zero in on my face for a second. The Holocaust happened. The Nazis killed over 6 million Jews and other people that they didn't like. Okay? If you're a Holocaust denier, leave now. Okay? Because I don't want to have anything to do
The
with
Nuremberg trials say it all. I mean, for
go,
them to grandstand.
go forward with Wiesenthal.
Yes.
As he found Nazis that ran to South America,
Right, hunted them
Argentina,
for years.
Okay, and brought them to fucking justice. Okay, like seriously, I'm not a Jew, but I would have loved to have worked with these guys. Yeah. I mean, to bring these people to justice.
The fact that German towns in Argentina, clearly that's where they went.
You know, could you imagine? You ever hear of the Analco house? Right? We had a conversation about this.
Yes.
There's a house in Argentina on the west coast of Argentina that is, without a doubt, was used by Nazis. The Expedition Unknown crew, Josh Gates.
Yes.
Got permission to enter the house and go on the property.
Really?
They found Nazi-era coins in the dirt in front of the house.
Wow.
When you go through the house and you're inside of it, it's abandoned. You can't help. It's like if you've ever played the game Wolfenstein.
Sure.
It's like you're in like one
like
of these Nazi layers, you know.
Underground layers running around.
Yeah, and it's a house, it's a mansion, huge, like 6,000 square feet of house.
Okay.
And it's like when you're going towards the house down the lake, you know, there's pulpits, like little castle type of buildings.
Okay.
That some of which have been destroyed, some of them are still there.
Okay.
Where the Nazis could have like taken you out if you were going down this river, which is the only way to get there. Now, today, there's a highway that goes right by it. You can go there.
Okay.
And possibly, I don't know, like, you know, the
hang out,
owners let you.
Something.
But, like...
So how does this lead me back to the Majestic 12?
Okay. So what these guys...
There's about 100, must be hundreds of stories that sort of ancillary to leading up to wanting to create the Majestic 12.
What Eisenhower did is he wanted to create a brain trust of people that could examine what the heck was going on. Like they found this crash in Roswell. There were other incidences too that lend us to believe there might be something otherworldly.
The Russians must have had something about it before that happened.
Remember the Nazi bell?
Yes.
Okay. The Russians got that. Okay?
Really?
Yeah,
really, the Russians picked up the bell.
We didn't get it. Okay. They got it.
Now the bell is supposed to be the Nazi UFO experiment.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we didn't get it. We can only assume that the Russians got it. Okay. Now, the Russians ain't talking, all right? Unless anybody's got a phone line into Vladimir. I don't even think Vladimir knows, okay? I don't know what Putin knows and doesn't know. But the way I see it is the Russians came in, they got to Berlin first.
Yes, they're right.
It's just by sheer freaking happenstance that we got what was his name? Werner von Braun.
Yes, the scientist.
How that happened, that we got him and his team out of there safely, with the with the Soviets all a freak over the place,
is pretty damn incredible.
Operation Paperclip, badass.
It's also
badass shit.
It's also important to know that the famous photo of the Russians standing over the dead Hitler in front of the bunker is a body double. Proven.
That's what they say, right?
Proven.
That's what they say, right? So there's people that have said Hitler was seen in Argentina.
Well, he had so many body doubles, it became hard to tell.
So if you tell the story that him and Eva Braun offed themselves in the bunker, but you got them out, and here's a funny thing: who was helping smuggle Nazis out of Germany?
Who?
The Red Cross.
Come on, the Red Cross?
You're
You're telling me there's a conspiracy that the Red Cross helped those Nazis make it to
You know who else was helping get Nazis out?
Ford.
The fucking Vatican. Truth. Right? And I don't mean to say the effing Vatican. Listen.
But those were groups that helped Nazis escape.
They helped Nazis escape. We've got that as proof, as we're sitting here talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Truth, okay? Now, there were lots of submarines and ships that showed up on the shores in Argentina after the war. Where are you going to hide? Some people say Antarctica. And there are people who attest to the fact that there were sighted Nazi UFOs when they tried to go to parts of Antarctica. There's a pyramid down there. There's like all kinds of weird stuff.
So you think Majestic 12?
I can't. That's like way out of my freaking.
But you think Majestic 12 took all of these things into consideration
What
when
I
they
think
built this group?
What I think Majestic 12 did, I think they did two things separately. I think, first of all, what they did is they evolved into Project Blue Book.
Oh.
Okay. So Majestic 12 started out...
Turned into Project Blue Book in the last 15 years.
And they started out to try to figure out what to do with this Roswell thing, right? That's why Eisenhower put them together. Eisenhower was just like, listen, this shit's going to get out. We got to get our story straight. We got to figure out a way to spin this to the public. That turned into Project Blue Book. Now, you float these two things out there, right? Because, like they say, government agencies don't go away; they just morph into something else. And who would know more than you about government agencies?
Right, contractors become vendors.
Exactly. Yeah, and become consultants. So, my feeling about the Majestic 12 is these documents which had the word bogus written all over them, right? There it is, right? And this is the way you get them from the government, that they're bogus, right? Bogus, dude, right? Linda Moulton Howe, on a recent episode of Ancient Aliens, brings up two great points.
Okay.
The first point is that there's, on one of these documents, and I'm going to look for it right now, there's a seal, a stamp, right, that is supposedly the seal of the United States Department of Defense at this time.
Really?
Right? Now, I don't know if I have that document right here.
Okay.
But she does, okay? And she's a lot smarter than me. And so, Linda, if you're out there, I'd love to hang out and love to get you, Giorgio, and Nick Pope together with a couple of other your compatriots, and I would love to do a show with you guys. Okay, seriously, I just think you guys are like the best. Okay.
So the government wrote the word bogus on it. Where does the word bogus on
it's
documents come out?
From the government. Okay.
So
on one of these documents,
handwriting.
On one of these documents, okay, and I don't have that particular document, but Linda does, okay? It's got a stamp on it that's like from the Department of Defense at that time, right? And like this is like an official document, right? I don't have that particular document. I'm looking for it. I don't have it.
Okay.
So she goes and she looks it up and she finds out that particular stamp in that iteration with the eagle holding this or over here, like that stamp was used at this time. leads some credence to it.
You mean that stamp was available at that time?
It wasn't available. It was the official stamp of the Department of Defense at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the plot gets deeper.
Uh-huh. But that's some pretty good proof, man.
No, it gets better. If you look at some of the type here, right? This is obviously a typewriter. Let me put that out there, right?
Okay.
Where is it? Right?
Yeah, right there.
Right. This was written on it. This was typed out by a typewriter.
Okay.
Okay. There is some other type here that was not typed out on a typewriter.
Really?
Yeah.
All right,
It was-
let's put it in the middle here.
It
Let's
was
show
typed
them.
out on a typing machine, like that predated a typewriter.
So
right?
you're saying the same report with different type?
Yeah. So right here, right, and which of course marked bogus. Right. You put it up to the
Here, I'm going to put it right here for
Okay.
everybody to see. So.
Okay. Now, what Linda brings out in this one episode of Ancient Aliens was that there was a character
Okay.
that in some of the typing, and I don't have it here, but
Uh-huh.
I'm going to next time we get together, I'm going to have like proof of this shit.
Okay.
That a V or a Z or whatever, there was one character that was like in the type, in the line of the type, this one character was raised a little bit. Okay.
Bad typewriter? Oh, it was before typewriter.
It was because there was dust in the type machine.
Okay.
And she found a guy who worked at the Department of Defense at the time
On that exact machine?
who confirmed he worked on that
Oh,
machine
wow.
and that, yes, that character was raised. And yes, I can confirm that this came from the Department of Defense.
The actual letter V was slightly raised because
It's
of
like
dust
V
on
or
the,
Z or
on the
something like that.
machine, and that was a noticeable difference on
Yeah.
that particular item. Wow, what a coincidence, Rick.
Yeah.
That's a little scary, man.
Now,
So Majestic 12's purpose was what?
to make a story for the public about the Roswell situation.
So it was their goal to make a believable story.
I think on the
that's not fact.
I think on the inside, Eisenhower wanted some facts. He wanted like find me some information about this stuff, right? But on the outside face of it, it was and now make a story to make the public not scared. That's what I think. And so
And
this
the public was scared because they proved it with that stupid TV show with the Orwell,
George, yeah,
right? And they scared the shit out of everybody with this fake UFO thing.
George,
and
yeah.
everybody lost
Orson
their
Welles.
minds.
Orson Welles.
I apologize.
Yeah.
The famous thing.
George Orwell wrote 1984.
Yes, I'm sorry, which is another interesting.
Yeah.
But
Or-
that radio show scared everybody to believe
about
it.
aliens landing in New Jersey.
Alien, right.
Yeah.
But that proved that you can't have to hide it because people will lose their minds, right?
You know the movie Men in Black?
Yes.
Tommy Lee Jones makes like the greatest statement of all time in that movie. That point where him and Will Smith are sitting outside of the Men in Black building and they're on the park bench and he's like trying to convince Will Smith to become an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith goes, yeah, but people are smart, man. People will figure this stuff out. Like, all you got to do is, like, be cool with them and just show them this stuff, right? Right?
Yes.
And so Tommy Lee Jones says, like, the most profoundly wise and beautifully worded statement I've ever heard in my life. He goes, a person is smart. People are stupid.
Yeah.
If you tell the public this bullshit story that you got going on here, they're going to go out of their freaking minds. You tell one dude this information, he'll sit there and go, wow, that's pretty fucked up. You know, and buy it, and like he'll be cool with it. Be like, well, so I guess that's what they did, huh? Okay. Okay. I mean, look at this. Majestic 12, this is 22 pages, right?
Yeah.
Out of 81,170 pages.
Oh, nice.
Okay. If you tell someone like in confidence, like yo, you and me, just I'm going to tell you
Jesus,
some
Josh,
shit,
yeah.
and like we're going to share the shit. You'd be like, you take it and like, Like seriously, there's UFOs. There's like people from other planets. There's some like serious like shit going on, and they're already here, right? And they've met with our government. They've been through 20 freaking presidential administrations, and it's all cool. I'd sit there and go, cool, all right.
Just kind of take it.
Yeah. Kind of like like what am I supposed to do with that? Like do like the Bugs Bunny thing when he's on the plane with the bongo.
Well, that's what they think, that humans are going to start throwing themselves out the window. The world is coming to an
I'm supposed to go out of my mind, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to go out of my mind because you know what? The truth is, in the back of my mind, I've always believed that we've been visited before.
But it's disclosure. Aren't we being prepared on a global level for disclosure?
I don't know what we're being prepared for.
Linda Howe talks about being prepared for disclosure.
Did you hear about the asteroid that they discovered like last week?
No, they discovered an asteroid.
Dude, seriously?
I don't know, man. I'm busy.
All right.
Come on, you're our space guy.
Okay,
what happened? They found an asteroid?
Rik Nevone, space geek. All right. Change that thing. Not technologist. I'm a geek. They discovered an planet killer asteroid that we didn't see because the sun was blocking it out.
Oh shit, that sucks. Well, how close is this one?
Pretty fucking close.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we have a name?
No, I don't know what the name is. I don't know if they gave it a name yet, but the truth.
Hopefully, it's not called Pepe.
No, the truth is,
Come up with a hammer.
They discovered an asteroid that could possibly hit Earth in the next couple of years.
Come on.
Yeah, that is like a planet killer. This
Really?
is like badass shit.
Really?
And they're like, shh, because they don't.
They wouldn't want us to know. They would not want us to panic.
What would be gained about telling the world about this? Well, having everybody go, like
I want to know when an asteroid comes. Don't keep it till the end.
I just want to have a glass of scotch and go like this. Hey, it was great while it lasted, right? Good shit, the scotch. Gone. What do you do with that?
It's just
What do you do with
people have
that?
thought in capitalism that there's a way to find fairness. It's like all the other governments, really. It's the elite, and that's about it, period. I was able to squirm my way in because I worked with a leader who had ideas of being progressive, which only got himself
The only
jammed up.
reason why you rose to where you rose to is because you're smart as fuck. Okay, if you were just like seriously,
bro.
if you were just like some schmuck, like hey dude, what's going on? If you're just like walking in like trying to like put in an 8-hour day to get your $14 an hour fucking paycheck, you would have never rose to where you got to.
No,
you
man.
rose to where you got to because you're smart. Okay, because you're ambitious, because you give a shit, because you care.
Rick, I spent years developing people on my team that I thought were allies, only for them to hurt me deeply and be the biggest scumbags you ever met.
Ed, that's going to happen. Same thing here.
The people who I trusted and put on my team are dirty, dirty people.
I've had people who traitored me too, okay? We all have, okay? That doesn't mean you did anything wrong, okay?
I did lots wrong because I allowed them to do this to me.
You trusted people you shouldn't have trusted. What does that mean about you? It means you're a really good guy, and you gave the benefit of the doubt, and you trusted people you shouldn't have trusted.
There was this woman who lost millions of dollars on Wall Street, and I took her in, and I developed her, and she just took the big knife and stabbed me right in the back. All those
Dude,
people.
you want to compare notes? Seriously, you want to go back and
compare
compare
notes? No, this is not a bitching session.
No. Like, seriously, you want to compare notes? Hold on. Put the camera back on me for a second. Do you really want to compare notes with me?
No, I know.
I mean,
you have some incredible
You want to go through the Pink tribute thing?
No,
you want to go through...
I know. Listen,
Seriously.
Listen,
The Majestic 12 shit ain't shit. I mean, like, no. All I'm saying is that where your heart. Look. Here's the thing. You put a $20 bill in the collection basket at church, right? And the priest is spending that on a hooker. Okay, you are blessed because you put it in there with the best of intentions. The priest is damned because he did the wrong thing. And I'm not saying all priests are bad. I'm not saying.
In this
I'm
example.
just drawing an example.
In this
okay?
example.
Your heart was true in what you did.
Yes.
You got paid back from someone who wasn't honorable, and I got paid back from people who weren't honorable too. Okay? But our hearts were pure while we did what we did. Look, did we make mistakes? Are we perfect freaking? We're not perfect. We're not even close to perfect. Hell, me and perfect have nothing to do with each other. But let me say this, that through a lot of what I went through, I tried to do the right thing, even though, like, it's like I'm sitting there looking at the situation going, this is going to suck. I mean, like, I know, like, this is going to just, like, end badly.
Yeah.
But I have to go this way because if I don't go this way, this person's going to get hurt, and this person is the person I'm protecting. Okay, I'm not going to get into the weeds on this, but I'm going to just say this: that there were times where we both did the wrong thing for the right reasons,
Yes.
and did the right thing for the wrong reasons and made mistakes. Okay, we're not perfect people. We're not Jesus Christ. We're not. We are not without sin, okay? We made bad decisions. We've gone through some shit that, stepping back from it, go, listen, maybe I would have did it differently if I had the gift of hindsight.
Now, hold on a second. It's just like Linda Howe said on a recent interview. She says, imagine the shame of humanity if aliens did come down and attack us. And we knew they were coming. But disclosure couldn't happen, and it didn't happen.
I know that quote.
Do you know when she said that?
Fucking brilliant. When she was addressing
Congress. Addressing Congress, yeah. And she said, what a shame it would be if these aliens showed up before we did disclosure and everybody realized
like,
it was
seriously, I actually got a tear in my eye when you said that, because I remember her saying that, and I'm like,
that was a fantastic.
That is powerful stuff. Like,
that's the key.
Where do we stand with
humans,
our case of who we are?
Who is defending us other than Linda Howell in the secrecies of UFOs? They could kill us and our families tomorrow, but it has to be kept secret in case it scares us a lot.
Yeah, look.
We're going to have to do a whole documentary just about her because we both have a lot of respect for her.
Listen, her, Giorgio, Nick Pope,
yes.
the whole crew over there. I mean, like, I don't know each one of their names. David Childress.
Yes,
right?
David Childress.
Every single one of those guys, they're like... The rabbi, right?
Yes, I forgot his name. Yeah, excellent speaker.
But, like,
love that guy.
And did you see the episode where they, like, sat there and talked with Captain Kirk?
Oh, I saw that.
Was that badass?
Of course.
I mean, seriously, sitting there having a conversation with William Shatner, and like, his only claim to fame is that he was Captain Kirk, right, as an actor.
And T.J.
right?
Hooker, but
it's like,
separate.
well, okay, but like, that wasn't a uniform guy, that was a costume, okay? But you know, that picture of William Shatner going up on Blue Origin, right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
And somebody took video of Bill Shatner looking out the window and just staring out the window.
I saw that.
I just sat there and I was just like,
That's
oh
awesome.
my God.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk. The guy who played Captain Kirk. Does he know about
disclosure that we don't?
I think
he's an actor. I mean,
I think that a lot of people know about disclosure that we don't. I think there's a lot of things going on that we don't know. You know, I'll be honest with you. My ex-wife, Beth, her sister was married to a guy, Don, who was in the military, who sat there and told me, there's shit I can't tell you. I'm not allowed. I cannot talk about it. There's shit that I can't freaking talk about. But let me just tell you this. There are things up there. There are people up there. There are things. I can't tell you any details. But let me tell you. Aliens, real. Real. No two ways about it.
He could have been talking about the South Border, too.
He could have also talking about the Tic Tac video. He could have been talking about any number of things, okay, that have already
Which was already out there. We just
not then when I was talking with him. This is like 10 years ago.
Right.
My son was like 3, okay? He's 27 now. So it's like 20-something years ago, right? I'm sitting there like at our vacation place out in the Poconos, and, we're sitting there,
Yeah,
and
you're
scotch,
right. Talking about aliens.
out by the fire, and I'm like, Don, seriously, you were in the Air Force. Tell me what was going on. And he just basically said to me, he goes,
There's things that can't bring up.
if I told you, your life would change, like from here on forever.
Wow.
I can't tell you anything.
Wow.
But let me just tell you this. We've been visited.
When did Majestic 12 turn into the new group called what? Blue what?
Project Blue Book.
Project Blue Book. When do you think it made that turn?
That happened in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
When we changed from the post-war era to now we're in the Cold War. And now we're in this very tense situation with the Soviets, and we need to stay ahead of them, okay? Because you think about what happened in the early 60s. Yuri Gagarin, first man into space. Sputnik, first satellite into space.
Yes.
They they checked all the boxes. And meanwhile, our rockets are taking off and blowing up on the fucking pad, okay?
It's not working.
We announce our Mercury astronauts, and everybody's looking at Glenn and Cooper, all of the Mercury astronauts as sacrificial lambs. Every one of these guys is going to die going up on an ICBM in a capsule on the top of an ICBM. And every single one of these guys is going to die. The truth is, only one of them did. Gus Grissom. Oh, and Roger Chaffee, right? He was like the part of the Mercury program.
Okay.
I don't know if the third astronaut in Apollo 1 was actually on the Mercury program, but I know Chaffee and Gus Grissom were.
Really?
Okay?
Oh, interesting.
I'd have to look that one up, okay? So, like, you caught me on that.
Interesting.
So,
But I mean, Majestic 12 had been operating for years before this took place.
They were operating on a set of...
But they were researchers, if you will.
They were operating on a set of information, an information set that they knew that they had gathered from the Roswell crash and from a few other, was it Rendlesham Forest?
Okay.
Right? That happened over in England.
Okay. Where there's another UFO sighting.
Another UFO site,
That's
which left nothing behind except a bunch of people that was stunned, okay, and a bunch of ground that was burned, okay. But samples were brought back to Area 51, and this is the time when Area 51 was built. This is the time when, like, we looked out into the Nevada desert and said, where can we play with this shit? Where can we hide this shit? Okay, and we're looking in the middle of the desert and like, oh, this looks pretty good. Groom Lake. Oh shit, this looks all right.
Perfect.
And what I believe is underneath that is what that movie Independence Day looked like.
Is underneath that lake the way they described it.
I believe that it's my own personal beliefs. So I believe that there's a complex under there that rivals anything that we've ever seen before. We have no freaking idea what's under there.
Sick, man. That sounds really cool. Like Moonfall. Did you see the movie Moonfall?
Do they have? Do
What
they
a
have?
sick.
Do they
sick
have alien
movie.
bodies? Do they have alien technology? Look, how did we go from vacuum tubes to transistors
So
to
quickly.
integrated circuits
So damn quick.
in 5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how did we do that?
Like that.
You know, how did that happen?
So was Majestic 12 part of that advancement, if you will?
Of course it was.
So you think Majestic 12 pilled out technologies out of these alien reverse engineering
Of
projects,
Of course.
and we're using some of that today.
Of course. Absolutely, without doubt.
So Majestic 12 was researchers that pulled us out. Other
Look,
countries must have a Majestic 12
when
where
we-
they pulled out different
When
technologies.
we started fighting World War II against the Nazis and the Japanese, the best counting machine that we had was a thing called ENIAC.
Okay.
Okay, it was the size of that room out there.
Okay.
Okay, and it didn't have the calculation power of the most simplest calculator that you can get at CVS
Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the calculator at CVS that you can buy outclass that thing by a gazillion freaking times. Okay? So, how did we go from that to integrated circuit boards on Apollo 11 in 20 years?
It had to be groups that concentrated on that research. Majestic 12 clearly was one of those groups.
One of those technology things was the Enigma. Right?
Why
the Nazi
don't they
Enigma
want
machine.
us to hear those secrets? What's so dangerous about what's
Because it says that we got this information from other places. We got this information. We
so
got
it's
a
a religious
boost.
thing? We can't break the religious thoughts?
No, because think about it. The second we say there's aliens out there, Christianity, dogma, over.
So?
So, not okay. Okay? Judaism, dogma, over. Islam, dogma, over. Like all the stuff
Isn't
that
there
the
something
5
positive
major
about that?
religions of the world say that we are unique in the universe and that there's nothing else out there but us. Okay? And then all of a sudden, we can't even freaking tell people there's a microbe on Mars. That's a fact.
So the dogma must live, and that's what will...
I want you to think about like some people are like
But the
who are
dogma
religious.
was artificial. It's not real.
There are people walking around right now. There are Christians who are walking around right now, and I say Christians because like I'm going to make fun of them right. I'm a Christian, okay? I was born a Christian. I grew up a Christian. I'm kind of like an agnostic now, but I was born a Christian. There are Christians out there who believe the world is 5,000 years old. That dinosaurs and man coexisted.
Wow.
They believe that. They believe that carbon dating is an absolute lie and blasphemy against the church. And how dare you, right? There are people who think that the American flag is a symbol of hate. There are people who think that
Good point. I see where you're going with this.
Jews are evil. There are people who think that black people are evil. There are people who think all sorts of wrong stuff that just aren't true, but they believe it with all their heart because of the bullshit they've been fed in their lives.
Was Majestic 12 created because those secrets had to be kept for national interest?
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Is that why?
And so Project Blue Book afterwards went and started saying, okay.
Is Project Blue Book the same people?
No, it was like this was book 1. Project Blue Book is book 2.
Old
and
Testament,
we
New Testament.
could pick that up. But what Project Blue Book tried to do is like, okay, now we've got this technology. What do we do with it? All right, let's start making like the space shuttle was a direct descendant of Project Blue Book. There was this a craft that they created called, I think it was called Hoff Blue or something like that.
I heard about this.
Right? It was like a space shuttle type of
The device.
ship, and that begot the space shuttle. Right? It's like how it evolved. Right? Mm-hmm. So you've got this, this like spy plane that they made. Right? I'm not sure. I think it landed, but it was up for like 12 years or something like that.
What do you mean, flying the whole time?
Yeah, that looked like the ship, the original ship from Project Blue Book.
And it was able to fly the whole time?
Yes, and it's been up there doing spy work for the U.S. government on everything, like literally everything. We have no idea. It's completely classified. We'll bring this up on the next show. What this ship was up there for like a couple of years.
Wow.
And
wow.
This is recent. It just recently landed. And it's like its mission is over.
Jeez.
Because they're going to launch something else that they're not even going to tell us about.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
NASA's got some great new technology coming out of the pike. Now we've got private companies.
When does disclosure become something that's acceptable for them?
It's already happened. It's already happened. You've got the disclosure that happened to Congress last year.
We saw the congressional hearing.
It was like 9 months ago.
About 9 months ago, where they talked about and showed the videos of the jet fighters,
and the triangle, right? Now, you got like everybody at the Pentagon going, I have no idea what the fuck that is, right? Okay, right. You got a video. You got a video that like, okay, this is a 6th generation fighter and a 6th generation fighter pilot following and tracking this Tic Tac device that has no control surfaces on it, has no exhaust. It's colder than everything around it, and it's traveling at hyper Mach speeds. And it's doing maneuvers that if there was a human on board, you would turn into on either side of the walls, because the second the thing goes ping, 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 and wherever it was going,
your head snapped off.
Your head snapped off. You turn.
I get it.
Imagine jumping out of a plane from 30,000 feet without a parachute and landing on cement.
Again,
that is what your body would look like inside of that craft, doing what that craft was doing.
My theory said that those could be holograms, but whatever, for another
holograms, drones. There's another. Right? Maybe there's nobody on there. Maybe there is, but there's like a force field of some sort.
So what's the advantage you see that these Majestic people and everybody else thinks about why to keep the wool over everyone's eyes still?
I think
what's the benefit to them?
I think it goes back to Tommy Lee's statement in Men in Black. A person is smart. People are stupid. You don't want to let this shit out, right? Supposedly, in the Roswell crash, there was that aluminum kind of stuff that you crumpled and it went back to no crumples.
Yes.
Right? Well, right there, it's like Velcro, okay? Think about it. Like, you go back to 1955 and you show somebody Velcro, right? Think about it like a game changer. Like, if you were the guy that invented Velcro in 1955, like, seriously, you're making bank. I mean, so it was the government that found this, like, stuff. And who knows they're not using it on the James Webb Telescope or even the Hubble.
Wow.
Right? Who knows
the technology is being used already.
Of course. How about the transistors and the computer chips, the CPUs and the memory chips? Look how far we've come in just a short amount of time. Think about where we're going to be technology-wise 50 years from now.
Wow.
Right? Right now, we've got CPUs. What's the fastest CPU you know of?
How
many gigahertz?
IBM, I don't know, that IBM cooled computer at Emory College or whatever.
How many gigahertz is it?
Connecticut University. I don't.
Is it a quantum computer?
Yes.
Okay, and it's cooled with liquid nitrogen.
Yes, it's in the big refrigerator.
Okay. So I'm talking about like personal computers, like some you could buy from Dell today and put in your server rack. Okay, what's the fastest CPU? Like 5 gigahertz,
Okay, yeah.
6 gigahertz,
Multi-core,
okay.
the whole
multi-core, 6 gigahertz. So like you've got this CPU, this central processing unit, and it's got 64 cores in it. So it's really 64 of these chips in one chip, you know, and it can do like symmetric multiprocessing. This is like really fun stuff. I love talking about this stuff. Okay, imagine a chip that makes that look like a freaking Studebaker, okay? Like
What the heck
a
is
Model
that?
A Ford, okay? Like going down the road with like a bad square wheel, okay? Imagine quantum computing takes that to like liquid nitrogen cooled CPU that can do 700 million times what that CPU can do. What do you do with it? What's the programming language you're going to use with that? When you juxtapose, like all of our computing up until now has been using ones and zeros. It's a reason why we use ones and zeros, binary code, because electrical circuits can be represented by being on or off,
Which
right?
are gates, and
Gates.
people don't recognize
Yeah.
the difference between regular computing and quantum computing is that zero, that object can be 0, 1, or something else.
Or any infinite number of states in
As
between
opposed to
1
that
and
gate
0,
is always 0 triggering that number.
or 1 and 0 at the same time.
Which means that each bit can have its own definition based on what
In
it
quantum
sees
reality.
in quantum reality,
Right.
not being a set thing.
Right.
That's incredible thinking.
So, like, if you know binary, I always say this 1 0. There's 10 kinds of people that understand binary numbers.
Right, but in
People
quantum
who-
it could be
people who understand
1,
and people who
0,
don't,
or
right?
both.
Right.
I
What's
believe.
1
Three
0 in
options.
binary? What's 1 0 in binary?
What is it?
2.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, true.
Right. There are two. I would say there are 10 types of people that understand binary. Those who do, those who don't. Right. So because 1 0
Is
you
0,
see a 10,
yes.
but it's really the number
It's
2.
similar,
Right.
yes.
Right. So if you take apart binary, and binary is like is thrown out there in bits and bytes. Right. A byte of information is 8 characters. Right. So 8 characters, either ones or zeros. And if you start on the right side and go to the left, you're representing a number from 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. If you set all of them to be 1, that's 256, right? If you set them all to be 0, that's 0. If you set all zeros and the right number is 1, that's the number 1. If you set all zeros but the last two numbers are 1, 0, that's 2, because you got the 2, and
Correct.
you got the 0, you're representing a 2. So I'm not going to get into a whole lesson on binary, but imagine you take that paradigm and you say that we're going to take that each bit could be an infinite possibility of between 1 and 0, or 1 and 0 at the same time, et cetera, et cetera. That the the Heisenberg uncertainty principle comes into play, and it could that bit could literally
change.
represent anything.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
And by you looking at it, changes it.
Changes it because the observer has on top of another.
Right. So now, who writes the software? So you're going to write an operating system that's going to run on a computer like that? That's where we're at right now. We've got the physical hardware to run this cool shit, but we don't have the operating system yet. We're just like drawing pictures on a cave wall in the middle of France.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're before Neanderthal. We're not even like Neanderthal yet. We're sitting there like blowing paint through a straw on our hand on the wall.
Because how does the bit decide of what it wants to be?
Exactly. We're not even close.
We've
to
defined the bit, but
How
now
about this?
the bit
We
defines
can't even
itself.
write an operating system to run on it. And there's like guys over at MIT going, I wrote an operating. You're not even close, guy. You know, and now that you wrote an operating system. Now run some software in that operating system. Go seriously. You're
Whole
talking.
nother
You're talking
evolution.
about like trying to like program a human brain,
Right.
and it's even smarter than us. Okay, so we're at a point where we've got hardware that has superseded our ability to even cope with that hardware. So
I wonder what that's going to be like. I really think about quantum computing and how it's going to ultimately interact
we're
and
babies.
string theory.
We're babies.
But the fact that
we're
bit
infants.
can be redefined. See you later, man. Bye, guys. The fact that
We're
bit can be
infants.
redefined
We're infants.
by other logic removes
We're
the
not
point
even
of a
infants.
bit.
Fucking Ed, we're zygotes.
Hold on. Let's talk about quantum computing for a second. Because quantum computing has a couple of things that confuse me. A quantum bit can be either a 0, a 1, or
Any juxtaposition
any other,
between 0
exactly,
and 1.
based on logic of its interpretation. Well, what's the interpretation that got it to decide what's the 0 and 1?
That's the question.
And if it's programmed by humans,
That's
it's going to be biased.
That's a great question, and that's exactly the question that the guys at MIT right now are wrestling with.
So the young man who programmed those soccer robots to play soccer,
That was
Didn't-
that was 64-bit computing.
Yeah, but hold
that was
on.
not quantum computing.
but he used his own biases to build that.
Yeah, it was fine. You can use your own biases. You do whatever you want. But that's still 64-bit computing. I'll bet you the operating system, the BIOS is still 32-bit. Okay, maybe
Old,
16-bit.
really
Maybe
slow
it's
stuff.
like back to AMI BIOS, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
some crap like that. I'll bet you anything right now that like at its best, it's 64-bit computing. At its probable state, it's probably 32-bit computing. Okay.
Did Majestic 12 have much higher end technology when they started compared to what we're hearing today?
No, they threw rocks at each other. Those guys didn't know what technology was. They had no definition of technology. All they knew is that we grabbed some shit from a crash site and what to do with it. Okay. So you got guys like Forrestal, who's like, they named a ship after, okay? There's people in this group who like literally
Why are those documents
Vandenberg,
why are
Bronk,
those documents
Hunsanger,
out? How come?
Sowers, Gray, Menzel, Montague.
Listen, how'd you
Berkner.
get your hands on those documents?
I
Why are
downloaded
they
them
out?
from the fucking internet.
So they're not that secret.
No, but look, 65 to 100, 81,170. We got 22 pages here. There's 65 pages before this. Who
Quite
knows
a
how
bit
many pages
redacted. There's
after?
a lot redacted. Okay, I
I got
you.
22 pages out of 81,170 that we know about, and there's probably a fuck ton more. Okay, so my point is that there's
81,000 pages. You got 20
that we know about that we can't see, and I got 22 pages of it, and some guy from the government wrote bogus all over it. Okay, I don't know what even that means. Okay.
So are you saying that Majestic 12 could still be a mystery, even though these 22
Oh, it's
pages are
it's
out?
definitely a mystery.
I mean, that it may have never existed.
Oh, it definitely existed. That's the thing. It definitely existed, and it as Majestic 12 got shut down, it morphed into the next thing.
Is it smart for government to keep these secrets from society on a general level?
Yes.
We're not making
Yes.
those decisions.
Yes, definitely.
It is smart.
Yes, definitely.
You agree with the
Without a doubt.
with the thoughts of what he said in that
Did
movie?
you see
that people are stupid. People are not very smart.
You know what the SR-71 is, right? The Blackbird, right? You know it's an SR-72? Yeah. And it's becoming declassified. It can go Mach 10. The SR-72 is something from Skunk Works, our friends over at Lockheed Martin. And it is the next generation of not fighters. It is a multi-purpose spy plane that can drop ordnance,
Jeez.
which the SR-71 couldn't. The original Blackbird could not drop ordnance, okay? This thing can, and it can drop hypersonic ordnance.
Wow.
Okay. At Mach 10, I want you to wrap your head around this.
Mach 10. Jesus.
It can
What's the
be.
speed?
It can literally place itself if it takes off from the East Coast of the United States. It can literally place itself anywhere on the globe in 1 hour.
Wow, that's sick. That's freaking
Traveling
sick.
at 80,000 miles up.
Oh, that's awesome.
When it travels, the nose of the jet of this plane is constantly red hot.
I can imagine.
It's we know
What
about
about drone technology? They must have done a lot. We
well,
don't know about.
this could be a drone. It could be manned, right? We've got the turbojet, right, which we have in jets that we understand. Like you get on a plane going to Florida, you're in a jet, right? Then there's the ramjet, which is what the SR-71 Blackbird. That's a ramjet engine.
Okay.
Because it's got to operate in low oxygen atmosphere up
To
at
be
80,000
able to-
feet.
right,
Okay.
to be able to operate.
Then they've got a level above that called the scramjet, which can operate in Earth,
Orbit.
in Earth oxygen
Okay.
or in no oxygen.
Really. What's it called?
A scramjet.
A scramjet.
Yeah.
Listen,
I don't want them to tell us about this. Seriously, I wish the people who put these videos out there and disseminate this information would shut the freak up.
So you agree that this level of disclosure really just creates military risk?
And also, it causes conversations like we're having,
Yes.
where we're sitting there trying to guess what the hell's going on, and that's.
But it makes for a fun show.
It does. I got to say that.
It's not fair that the government doesn't tell us the truth, though. It's not just a shame.
It's also good that the government doesn't tell us the truth, because if the government was in cahoots with, let's say, an extraterrestrial society, do you really want to know?
Yes, I would want to know if that was the case.
I would think it would be good to know if everybody could get it and everybody could wrap their heads around it.
But if you don't even understand what it means.
Right. But you got some people out there that you say, like, if you say to them, okay, how many minutes in a quarter hour? And they can't answer you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
They
say,
should also not have disclosure.
and they show you a clock. If I show you a clock, right, and the big hand is on the 12 and the little hand's on the 2, and I ask you, what time is it? And they can't answer it. It's probably best we don't tell people. Do you know what I'm saying, brother?
I guess it's true. The majority of humans have low education, and don't need this
it's not low education. They're fucking stupid. Like
It's
I'm gonna go
sad.
George
It's
Carlin
sad,
on. I'm gonna
man.
go George Carlin on you.
It's sad.
They're
We want us
fucking
to-
stupid. If you don't know, okay, here's a question that guy that the guy on TikTok I love.
Yeah.
If you were born 10 years ago, how old would you be today?
Okay.
Good.
If I was born.
If you were born 10 years ago, how old would you be today?
Okay.
Good.
In my late 30s.
No.
Okay.
If you were born 10 years ago,
10 years ago.
how old would
10
you be
years old.
today?
10
Right.
years old.
Thank you.
Yes. Of course.
And people say, go, 44?
Yes.
If I
trick
gave you 2 quarters
Yes.
and I gave you 2 dimes,
Okay.
how much money would you have?
70 cents.
That's right. Okay. Name any country beginning with the letter N.
Nigeria?
That's one. Give me another one.
North America.
Well, this is a continent.
Or a country.
How about Norway?
Norway.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. How about North Korea?
No.
Right, well,
'Cause
DPRK they call it, but we
Okay.
call it North Korea. So
Okay.
you get a pass on that.
Okay.
Okay. What continent is also a country?
What continent is also a country? Australia.
That's right. Okay. Now you go out on the street and you ask the average everyday idiot on the street, like any of these questions.
Yeah, you don't.
They go, "Ta, ta, 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 ta." Yeah, they don't know anything about this because the school system didn't teach them. Public school doesn't teach you anything.
Teach you anything.
If I ask you, describe to me what the Middle Ages was, or the Renaissance, or tell me who Sir Isaac Newton was. Describe to me what is gravity. Describe to me what is light. And just have a conversation about it. Just, let's talk about it. Like, you don't have to be like a scientist, but like, should you know as a human being that light is both a particle and a wave?
Yes, exactly.
The double slit experiment, right? The wave transformation, right? Shouldn't you know that gravity is a force basically caused from mass, right? Shouldn't you know that, like, certain things about the world around you, like basic earth science, right?
Okay.
Like what is, I don't know, an igneous rock? What, like, could you describe that to me? You don't have to get it right. You don't have to, like,
Just give us
nail the
something.
question. But, like, to be able to have, like, a fairly intelligent conversation, even if you don't know the answer,
Yes.
to be able to have an intelligent conversation, to not just sit there and go, da, da. Like completely like mind lock and just go, I have no idea. Like,
But hold on. I enjoy discovery and learning things I don't know.
And I'm not, I'm
It's
sitting there, I don't want to make fun
fabulous,
of people who are like what we call Rush Limbaugh
But
would
no,
call
we
low
want
intelligence.
people to be able to enjoy learning something new. You're not putting on the spot,
I put a thing on Facebook the other day. It's like, just because I'm a man and just because I'm explaining something to you doesn't mean I'm mansplaining to you, right? And I'm not sitting here making fun of people that don't know. Okay, right. What I am is I'm calling you to learn. If you don't know some of the stuff that I've thrown out there, if you're sitting there and you don't know how to tell time from looking at an analog clock, if you don't know that time and space are relative to each other
it's not taught in school. These are not things you'll use in life, is what they tell you.
It's common sense shit. Okay, and if you don't know
you saw
this,
from COVID how common sense, covered American humans.
Yeah, I know. But
common sense is not so simple to
And
grasp.
let's throw this out there, as long as we're like putting on our MAGA hats. Okay, so parents at home with their kids, learning about, like, sitting and watching their kids over their shoulder, and they're seeing the school boards allowing teachers to sexualize their kids.
Yes, that's disgusting.
And they go to the school board meetings and say, hey, you can't do that. That's my child. And they're called a terrorist.
Yes.
Crazy seriously?
Stuff,
Seriously?
crazy stuff.
This election, right now, this midterm election, this decides a lot of shit right here, right now.
Now hold on a second.